guys, how's it going? Welcome to a new-ish type of video. Let me explain. Back in my college days, I used to do a little podcast type thing where I basically just talk about the weekly shows going on, what I'm watching, and how I feel about them. So essentially, I'm doing that again over here with this series. I'm not calling it the same thing because that last name was now taken as an AI thing. So yeah, I can't use that because I don't want to do any legal troubles if, by chance that happens. So hello, my name is Anthony and welcome to my Annie Talk. You get it. Yes, Annie Talk is going to be a series where I talk about the weekly shows going on. I'm going to be watching 5 shows a week and I'm going to be doing this every season. Essentially, I'm going to be picking out shows that I want to watch. Most likely starting next season, I'll let you guys pick a show. The only caveat is that it can't be a sequel unless I've already covered season 1 on here. So, for example, if you don't see the show everyone's talking about this season, aka Solo Leveling on here, it's because, yeah, it's season 2. I'm not going to cover it because season 1 already passed. And I have to do a whole thing. Maybe have a review it, then, do a review of season 1, then talk about season 2. But no, I'm going to just stick to that. But if there is something that is like everyone needs me to watch it, and it's like season 2 or 3, I'll catch up, I guess. But for now, we'll be doing 5 brand new shows that are, running right now. I'll let you know where you can catch them. That's very important for one of these. Because, yeah, you'll see in a bit. And, how many episodes are out. I'm going to be starting with the first 3 episodes of each season. So, every time I do this, when I start, it's going to be 3 episodes in. Then from there, we'll do weekly episodes. And then you'll get this weekly. And it'll roll out weekly. I'm saying weekly a lot. But yeah, let's cut the chit chat and let's start with the first show. Can you keep a secret? I have a crush at work. The title for this is confusing because it's either one or the other or it's all together. Essentially, if you like Wotakoi, from what I've heard, you would like this a lot. Essentially, an office romance. Essentially, our main characters are already dating each other. It starts with a confession already, like them asking each other out. And yeah, you have to keep it a secret from the entire office. And it's hard because they hate each other, face value wise. If you watch the show or read the manga, they hate each other in the actual office. They show that they aren't really good at friends. But in reality, they are dating each other. So, that little dynamic of like, we're trying to hide that we're dating. And we have to act like we hate each other, but in reality, they like each other a lot. And yeah, that's pretty much how this show is. This show is weird because it's not available anywhere. You have to find it how you have to find it by your own means. Shout out to One Piece. If you know, you know. Someone picked this up. Why hasn't anyone picked this up? I have a feeling why. I feel like no one has picked this up, and I'll get to it in a bit. First impressions, the first episode, really good, really solid. I enjoyed the first episode a lot. But it did move real fast. It moved so fast, in fact, that I wound up actually looking up how many chapters the actual series has. It's completed like 100 something chapters, and then I read the first couple of chapters to see, like, maybe it's taking a bunch of chapters and just conglomerating into one episode. No, I think the first episode was like the first 2 or 3 chapters, I believe. So regular pacing for like anime, essentially. But for some reason, it just moved really fast. A lot happens in this series in just the span of an episode. And I don't know if I like that or not. It moved really fast. Like, we got like 3 or 4 things at once. They wind up like, doing the deed at the end of the first episode. And yeah, a lot happened. And then leading on to the next 2 episodes, essentially, they got found out already that they're already, in this relationship by a random coworker. Essentially, there is the title. Can you keep a secret? It's just this one random coworker like, hey, keep this a secret, please. Even though the guy they're asking is like, hey, I don't really care. You're just making it obvious by the way you're doing things. It's kind of like funny in its own way, but I digress. Hopefully it gets a little better. I'm enjoying what it is, but I will say that the pace it's moving is a little too fast for me, and I think it's only going to be 13 episodes. The series is already done, so hopefully they're hoping for a season 2. I think this is a new studio or one of the newer ones. And honestly, they are knocking it out of the park, besides, it not being picked up anywhere in, the US. Which gets me to episode number 3, which I feel like this tells me the reason why this isn't being picked up by anyone. I think it's like softcore, what. Let me explain. There is a scene where they're, looking for files in a closet, and the female main character's friends and coworkers wind up walking into them. Well, they're hiding, obviously, trying to find them, but they're on each other in a very peculiar way. And it winds up getting really weird for like a split second. Like, she's like, hey, just come a bit closer. And then that was the moment where I'm like, okay, there's something up with the show, and I can kind of figure out why this isn't being picked up by anyone. And so with that happening, the first episode of them, already doing it tells me a lot that, yeah, there's probably a lot of, deeper things that happen in this. that we're gonna experience. That's probably why this isn't picked up. So I can see why. For it being just, little things here and there, it's okay. It's a fine series. Really good. For what I wanted, like Wodokoi aspects, the romance office stuff, like that's pretty much there. But like the whole nerdy stuff, like it's very like spliced in, honestly. There are parts where like, hey, I really enjoy donuts. I love going to watch baseball games. Hey, play the game like this. Why are you playing like this? Because I like the way the characters look. That small stuff I do like, but I feel like it's not like in your face as Wodokoi is. So, that is a step down compared to that series. But I will say, with this series, I'm overall enjoying it. And for the final segment for each anime, aka episode starting next week, we'll be doing our LLC chart, which is essentially me rating it from a love, like, or cut. So if I love it a lot, I'm going to give it the love. If I like it and want to continue on, like it. If I want to cut it, yeah, I'll cut it. I won't actually be cutting these series from the actual, thing that we're doing here. The only time I'll actually cut a series is at the, end of the season mark. If it's a 24 episode, I'm like, hey, I want to cut it here. That's where I'm cutting it. But it's more to gauge hey, I like this series. You should check it out. If I don't like the series, I'm letting you know I don't like the series. If I really like the series and I think you should really check this out, this is one of the best things, it's given the love. Can you keep a secret? I have a crush at work. Will get a like from me. It is doing some good, but it's not doing amazing. Like I mentioned, a lot is happening in the first 3 episodes. A lot happens each episode, and for that pace, it's just very snappy, and I do enjoy it. But for a romance, I like them to settle in. I wasn't expecting them to just, start going out in the first episode. I thought it'd be a thing where at the end of the first episode, at the very least, they wind up asking out each other. Or I thought it was a situation where just one person has a crush on the other person. Or, they both have a Kaguya-sama where they both like each other, not going to tell each other. And then eventually at the end of the whole series, they wind up asking each other out and that's it. But no, we're immediately in the relationship. And even though I feel like it's good that we get this, because, a lot of series get the flack of hey, they don't get into the actual relationship until the end and that's it. We don't get to see the actual relationship. I dig that. But I feel like it's moving very fast. And in the complete opposite, Honey Lemon Soda is I believe this is a shoujo series that centers our main female character who's basically very shy and very timid, and she gets bullied a lot. And finally she sets up for herself. It's her learning to step up for herself with the help of a guy who helped her in the very beginning, even before she got sent into the school, which is pretty cool. But I will say, it's not doing much for me. It's kind of boring. I won't lie. I fell asleep through the second episode. So yeah, not great. But I will say it did get a bit better, I will say, with episode 3. But overall, why does her eyes look like lemons? I get it. Honey lemon soda. The dude drinks lemon soda all the time. But there are certain times where they, zoom into her face and it feels like her eyes are just lemon slices. But into the actual stuff, the bullying in this series feels very weird because, they call her Stony. She's stone-faced. She's very slow, essentially. But she's very smart. It made no sense. The only reason why she chose the school she went into was because she froze up so bad during the whole entrance exam that she just didn't fill out anything. But she still had good grades. That was the thing. Her teacher in the flashbacks of the first or second episode was your grades are amazing. You're going to ace this test. Don't worry about it. She fails the test, obviously, but her grades are still amazing. The only reason she chooses the school is because the guy was hey, you should choose this school. I'm going to it. It'd be really cool. And I dig that. Honestly, I do. But for everyone to just be you're stupid, you're dumb, you're slow, makes no sense, honestly. So dumb. She is very timid. She is very shy, socially awkward. I do get that. But besides that, she's a smart student. And her whole goal was to make friends. And it's only been a month since she's been to school. And now she's making friends. It felt like a thing where she was, harping herself down the entire year. But no, they just started school. And that's pretty much it. So yeah. The main boy is very unlikable, I will say. I don't dig him at all. I forgot his name. Yellow-haired kid. I think is Yukari or something like that. I forget the name. Or I forgot his name, honestly. That's how relevant he is not to this series. It's just it's an S series. I feel like this can get a lot better. The opening does get me some hopes because it gives me that little time-lapse vibe where they're all chilling and having fun. I do enjoy those types of moments in these types of series, but we need to get to that a lot faster, and I hope we do. Pretty much that's it. She winds up liking him from episode 2, so there's that. Will they go out with each other? The opening, tells us, yeah, eventually they are. But yeah, besides that, nothing much else. The bullying is very unwarranted in this series. It makes no sense. It just comes out of nowhere, and it's very harsh at times. Like episode 3, she's being dragged by these 2 random guys, and it's very weird and very gruesome. Even though like nothing bad happens, she doesn't get hit or anything, but the way they just force on her, very weird. I don't like it. Hopefully she stands up for herself fully eventually, but until then she's gonna rely on this guy, and so not that bad, won't complain about it, but I want to see more from the series. So far I'll give it a cut, but like a very small cut. It's not like, you know, doing anything really bad. It's just, there's some plot holes that are just here and there that are very obvious, so that's why it's getting the cut. But I feel like there has a lot of room to improve in the series, and I'm looking forward to that, at least. You can find Honey Lemon Soda on Crunchyroll, as well as our next series, Medaka Kuroiwa is impervious to my charm, or our charm? I forget what it was. I read the manga for this, so I was a little biased going into this. I felt like I was going to enjoy this a lot. I'm very disappointed. Yeah, I'll explain why. Imagine the perfect girl in school. Just everyone loves her. She's Miss Popular. All that stuff. And there's one guy who she tries her charm, doesn't work. That's essentially it. And she tries to get him to fall for him. Winds up going the other way around. She winds up falling for him. And yeah. I will say, if you're watching this series, it's very corny and cheesy in the beginning, but there are signs there, at least in the manga when I was reading it, and I am reading it currently still. I'm reading it on K-Manga. There are signs where like it gets better and better as it goes on. The anime, it might be a case where like I'm just forgetting the first couple chapters that bad and realizing how bad the main character actually is. Yeah, she's not great. It's really bad in the beginning. The acting is not good. Yeah, I feel like later on the character does improve a lot. Characters do grow and develop as the series goes on. And when I hear those voices in the Japanese, also the other 2 shows I've watched in Japanese as well. The next 2 shows I'm actually watching in English. The actual acting in this, I feel like when they get to those parts of character improvement, I'm not going to enjoy it. I feel like it's going to come out as like very disingenuous, because they can play snotty a lot in this series. Like the main girl, she's very snooty and all that stuff. And I like that part. But I feel like there's a certain point where like she evolves from that, and I do enjoy that in the manga, and I feel like the acting might not get there, which is gonna very much suck. The thing I like about the manga is that the growth of the actual characters, and I feel like there is very little room with the actual, you know, characters in the anime version. And I don't want to be that person, but the animation art style does not look that great, I will say. I enjoy the art style of the manga. It's very simple, very clean cut, but it has identity. It has character to it. If you know Laura, she's an amazing human being. Check out Laura, obviously. If you know Laura, ask her about the Kaiju number 8 anime renders, and essentially this is how I feel about that. They're very inaccurate. They feel like they're almost just there, but things are just not it. It's just like, if you ask someone from Fiverr, hey, take this series, make it look like an anime, this is what they come up with. It doesn't feel that accurate. Things are smaller. They're a bit more chibi-fied, and I don't like it a lot. Like, the main thing that I noticed immediately was the main guy. His hair, Medaka's hair, is a bit more like longer and out there in the manga. This is very just short, clean cut. It's very meh, which I didn't like. I know it's a very small nitpick, but the look and the feel of the show is very much like a husk of the actual manga, which is not that great, which very much did irritate me. And like I said, the acting sometimes is just not there. When I read the manga, these are not the voices I envisioned, which is very sad. But I hope as, you know, we go on, it gets a little bit better. They get to the point where, like, there's a point where she changes and she realizes, hey, I really do like him and I kind of want him to fall for me, but like actual genuine, like actual want. Like the first 2 episodes, you can tell like, she just wants it so, you know, she can have her status. But there's a point in the manga, which we're going to get to very fast, that she's like, no, I want to actually like try and like have this guy fall for me, and I actually want to be with him. I feel like when we get to that point, it'll be the make or break. But so far, face value, I'm going to cut this as well, which is very sad. Also, the opening for this is just a glorified, hey, I want to make this dance popular. They're just dancing for most of it, and I don't like it. The songs aren't that great. The next series, though, I'm going to give a love. I'm going to tell you straight up, I love this new series that I'm watching right now. The next one, Medalist. Medalist is available on Hulu. I'm watching the English version. Like I mentioned before, this and the next show I'm watching English versions. And yeah, Medalist is really good. It's the figure skating anime. It's all figure skating. It's about a girl who wants to figure skate, but she's too old, even though she's like 11. She's too old to figure skate, but the one coach main character is like, hey, I see the potential in you. I love what I see from you. And the fact that you got to learn everything on your own by just reading and just watching stuff like he did, I very much do enjoy. A big theme with the series this season is that there are small dark undertones with each show. I haven't really talked about it with the other ones. Can You Keep a Secret? The opening has the main girl crying for some reason a lot. Don't know why, but that's the thing. Honey Lemon Soda, there's a bunch of bullying, like I mentioned before. And yeah, Medaka is the lightest one of the bunch. So yeah, but this one, the dark tones of it is in the open. It's littered everywhere in this one. It's really weird because it's like, oh, she wants to be a figure skater. She aspires to be a figure skater, but she knows like, hey, the cutoff period is like done. I don't have support from the family. Like, it's very hard for me. The actual coach himself, he wanted to be professional, couldn't get into it, only got to the Olympics because he was a helper. And so all the dark tones of just failure and regret is here, and I do enjoy it, and I like it so much. Watch the opening as well. Beautiful. The dark tones are there as well. The characters' faces when they're in fear and, depressed and just in anguish. I love it. It gives you the actual feeling of them just being sad, and I like this so much. That being topped off with a bunch of amazing figure skating and a bunch of actually really good comedy for the English dub. The English dub comedy blows it out the park. I chuckled a lot. I laughed a lot during the little small quips that the main character throws it here and there. Even the coach, his funny stuff, it just comes off as genuine. It feels like an actual show where they're just talking, these are the actual characters. I love when dubs do that a lot, where they just don't feel like just dubs and rehashes. The dubs are just very genuine and just giving a lot of quality of life into the actual series, and I enjoy this one a lot. Very much a lot. Medalist is amazing. The only problem, of course, a lot of people are going to say, since it's an anime about sports, the CG is going to be a problem. And honestly, the CG, the first episode, was not that great. I will say it. The CG, it was obvious. And honestly, I was going to get very, very upset because there are moments where they do the ice skating and it's in 2D regular. It looks perfectly fine. So why are they throwing in CG? But I feel like with the series going on and on, less CG is being used, which is great. Best case of the CG being used is watch the opening. The opening has some CG in it, but it's actually done pretty well. As they incorporate the CG, it's not as noticeable as it was the first episode, but I will say that hopefully they just, transition to just using fully 2D animation with splices of CG, because there are certain moments where the CG is in the background. You can slightly tell, but if you're not paying attention to it, it looks amazing. Like when the coach skates for the first time in episode 3, literally a godsend. It's amazing how beautiful that looks, and I really much love that scene where he just skates for the first time in front of all these children, and they're like, oh my god, he's amazing, even though he's very goofy. I love it. Medalist gets a love. A lot of people love the manga from this series, and I can finally see why, because I'm watching the anime. I'm pretty much obvious 100% gonna pick up the manga after this series is over, because I think it's only gonna be 12 episodes. Without further ado, let's get into the last show. But Medalist is, if I had to tell you to pick one show from the entire batch of the new season I'm watching, Medalist would easily be the one. And last but not least, obviously, if you know what is going on this season, you know this show is going to be talked about. Sakamoto Days. Sakamoto Days is available on Netflix. Like I said, I'm watching the dub currently. The reason I'm watching the dub is because I saw the dub cast and was like, ooh, there's big actors here. I want to watch it to see certain people. They haven't showed up yet for me, but from what I've heard so far, it's kind of I won't lie. The only character I really liked was Sakamoto himself, being played by Matt Mercer. But I will say, as the show has gone on, the characters have grooved into their actual roles pretty well. Shin was in the beginning. He's gotten a little better by Dallas Liu, I will say. Everyone else, the last villain that we had, the poison villain, I liked his voice actor, whoever that was. Kudos to you. Sakamoto Days is about an assassin who, is world famous. He's the best assassin in the world. He settled down, had a family, and now everyone is out for him because, he's the world's best assassin. Why is he just settling down? Makes no sense. We have to kill him. So essentially, from what I got, a bunch of assassins are going to come and try to kill him, essentially, and he has to, defer to, having him not kill these people because, it's his wife that's pushing him on to be like, hey, don't kill people or we're going to get divorced, which I think is very funny. And even though he wants to protect his family. He knows that he can't kill, and I do enjoy that because he finds very fun ways to not kill anybody, but get them, paralyzed and just like stop hunting them down, which is really cool. If you know anything about Sakamoto Days, the manga, the covers are beautiful. Well, I've heard that the anime has skipped a lot of chapters, unfortunately, because they're trying to get to a certain point in the manga that apparently it starts being amazing. From what I heard, the first 3 volumes of Sakamoto Days aren't that great. I can kind of tell why with the way the first 2 episodes were paced. Like, hey, they were paced pretty fast, and like it seems like they were moving a lot, and I felt like it was for a point, and I'm pretty sure episode 4 is going to be the reason why, because unfortunately Netflix is being very weird, because episode 4 is currently available. I think episode 5 is available in a couple days to certain people. I think it's like either region based or it's like subscription based. So I only have the first 3 episodes, but for some reason more episodes are already out, which is very weird. Sakamoto Days, I will say it was okay with me. The first 2 episodes, I didn't feel amazed. Like I said, that's why they're trying to cut down to get to a certain point, because I feel like the beginning isn't that great, and I'm a case in point of that. I didn't like the first 2 episodes. Episode 1 was pretty good. It was fun, but I read that already in the actual first volume because I have pretty much most of the volumes already. But I felt like there was just stuff missing, or it wasn't hitting as hard. But I will say episode 3 was very fun for me. I did like Shin. He progressed a lot for me. I thought he was okay, but here he was a lot better. So I will say that. And I know more things are coming. So for right now, I'm giving Sakamoto Days a like on the LLC chart. And so, yeah, those are our 5 shows. Like I said, more episodes are on Netflix for some reason in different places or different tiers. And I know a lot of better things are here to come soon for this series. So I'm just, biting my nails in time with this and waiting for those eventual episodes. But for right now, I like what I see so far. I'm not amazed, but I will say it's not bad. And it's a lot better than the stuff that I've been watching, at the beginning of the whole video. Like, better than that stuff right now. And so yeah, that is the first episode of Annie Talk. Thank you for, coming to my Annie Talk. It's a TED Talk reference. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys. I'm going to hopefully do these every Sunday from now on. I was just a bit late because I was behind in episodes, and like I said, Honey Lemon Soda made me sleep. Medaka episode 3 made me fall asleep midway through. I had to rewatch it. Yeah, and then I just literally finished Can You Keep a Secret? I literally finished that before recording this. So it's very rough right now, but I'm currently caught up. So hopefully the actual watches, I probably watch everything on a Saturday and then record right after to give you my thoughts, and then hopefully edit it and have it out by Sunday. But obviously this first one is late. Apologies for that. I'm very busy, and the episodes have been very rough for the most part, but I feel like as we go on, things will get better. And so hopefully you guys enjoy this series. If you do, hit it like, comment, some series you're checking out this season. Are you checking out any of these series? I feel like a lot of people are going to check out Sakamoto Days. Check out some of the other series I mentioned. Medalist. Check out Medalist. Do it. Check out Medalist. It's really good. And so yeah, without further ado, I will see you guys next time when I see you, and peace. If you want to recommend any shows that are coming out soon for next season, let me know so, I can make the list for next season, because I have to look at what's actually available coming out that season. But if there's a certain show that is a season 1 new show that is currently airing, let me know what it is. Maybe I'll add it to the list, give you a whole recap. And yeah, like I said, without further ado, peace. See you guys next time.